Welcome back to the 1760 sessions where we talk to founders building systems and impact. I'm Harry, as you all know, from 1760 Strategic AI, and today I'm joined by the fantastic Nate Vander Stelt, co-founder of the Kairos Collaborative, a leadership development practice helping executives and teams find clarity through what Nate calls purpose-filled gaps. Nate spent 35 years across non-profit and for-profit sectors, most recently as EVP at GACX, working on global church multiplication before taking a bold leap at 58 to start something new with his wife. Chris, Nate, thanks for being here.
Yeah. Harry, thanks. Shout out to you and all those that are following. I'm ready to dive in. This is going to be a good time together.
I'm very excited for it. I hope you enjoyed the lengthy intro there.
That's good. Listen, let's go, right?
Oh yeah. So what led you to start the Kairos Collaborative at 58?
Yeah,
As you
so
told me, it's been a bit of a journey.
it has been. So as you said in the introduction, at 58, how many people are ready to dive into the deep end and just start something new? Many times people are just kind of thinking, I'm just going to start to look at sunsetting this in the next 5, 10 plus years. Building off of 35 plus years, both in for-profit and nonprofit, and even in this global arena, which you had included in the introduction, there was something that was deep within both my wife and I in realizing that there's something that we believe can be a value add to other organizations, individuals. And on the personal side, when you start a business, Kairos Collaborative is a for-profit company that we are serving both for and nonprofits. And you start from scratch, you ideate. I mean, I've got a whiteboard behind me. What is it that's going to go on the whiteboard? And what's the value proposition? How are you going to do this? It's not only in ideation, but where's the financial stability when you start something new? There's no backdrop here. It's sink or swim. People are at 48, 38, 28. I get it. But at 58, are you crazy? Yes, I am, but in good purpose-filled ways. So the word kairos in Greek is one of the two definitions of time. Chronos and kairos are two definitions of time in Greek. Chronos means the time on the watch or your phone. Kairos means season. And so we stepped into this company getting started with the name Kairos itself as a season of somebody's life, a season of an organization, for profit or nonprofit. But we also hardwired into the name collaborative because we truly believe that when you do it together with somebody and there's an alignment, it just puts rocket fuel in the engines of why you're trying to solve problems. And we'll get into that, exactly what we're trying to do. So Kairos Collaborative has been around for 3.5 years. We've been growing very steadily and understanding more and more of what we should do and shouldn't do. And it's been a lot of fun. And I would say we have a lot of holy sweat on the brow to get done to where we are today. So there we go.
Okay, wow. That's fascinating, and I hadn't thought about the whole meaning behind the word kairos, and I absolutely love the word collaborative. While you were sat there talking through it, I was thinking, is there a way we can weave collaborative into the title of my own business? So when was it that you first recognized that leaders needed a purpose-filled pause, and what does that mean in practice?
Well, I'll go answer the question in two ways.
Please do.
I'm going to use a visual because visuals for me are always good. So this is kind of fun. So your listeners are going to do this. So this is a vial that has some sand in the bottom and so watch what happens here. So let's just say you're a leader of whatever organization, for-profit, nonprofit, and you get started and you start moving not only into your day, but into your work. And there's a lot going on and you just keep going and you keep going. And this is kind of sometimes how we feel, not only in a month, week, but actually in a day. And what happens is the movement just keeps going. And this is how we get up. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, hit the feet on the floor, whatever you're doing, and you go until whatever time at night. And what happens is there's rest and we're just wiped out. I'm a power nap guy,
Same.
but I don't often take purpose-filled pauses. And what happens when you take a purpose-filled pause? Stop. Watch what happens when I stop shaking.
Basically getting much, much clearer at the top.
This was only 20 seconds, Harry,
Yeah.
in my life. The failure to be able to just stop, pause. It's not just rest, and we need physical rest, but I'm thinking, pause a minute. What is it that's going on in me? So the guy in the mirror is part answer to what you asked. What was going on? The fact that through my self-awareness, through the way how I am, how I'm hardwired, I was not taking the time to let the more important, weightier things settle down. Doesn't mean I stop and just stop everything, but the purpose-filled pause. I recognize that in myself, and I recognized it in all kinds of high capacity leaders that I've just been privileged to know, love, and appreciate. Many I call good friends, others acquaintances, from those that are publicly out there that people, I'm not putting names out there, but people that if I gave it, you'd know, to people that are unsung heroes, but still have the same challenge, not pausing with purpose and to recognize what's going on in their lives, what's important, what's the weightier things. That's a huge part of why we got this part started of the business.
And look, I think purposeful pause can be important in so many different ways. And I'd love to get your take on this. It can be from my eyes and from the way I see it, it can be taking an hour out of your day just to reflect, look at what's ahead, or taking an hour out of your day not even to think about work, potentially taking an hour out of your day to read a book or just have a slight moment to yourself. And furthermore, there's such things as taking time out of your evening, taking time on a weekend, and then there's that longer pause. As I think I mentioned to you before, Nate, I like to go away for 3 weeks over Christmas. And that's what I've always done. And that's my chance to reset, going and sitting on a beach. And that is my purpose-filled pause. And I always come back a little bit fatter, but I come back with a much clearer mindset.
Right. Right. You're spot on. My wife and I, over the holidays, had the opportunity to unplug for 6 days where I rested, reflected, and renewed. The rest, unapologetically, if I take 1, 2, or 3 naps just because I'm physically wiped out, good, spend the time. But also, it's intentional reflection. This is a longer, purposeful pause. But that for me was not just a work part of Kairos, but it's work life balance, understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing, what are the weightier things beyond work. We can maybe get into this later, but my identity is not in my work. And that's a huge mistake many people make. Um, there's multiple parts of it. So yeah, taking this purpose-filled pause is really, really critical for leaders and teams to be taking. And that's exactly why we're stepping into the deep end of this and just trying to create some good traction for people.
How do you encourage someone to do it on a day-to-day basis?
I think it's you want to be really intentional here. There are so many great resources out there. You can go online, you can go through people, good trusted friends, but when people understand internally there's a self motivation, something has got to change unless I change in one way or another, a discipline. It's I kind of like this. I often use this. I have a string in front of me. If you try to push with motivation the bottom from this string, the top's not going to move. It's got to get pulled. My answer to that is it's got to come from internally, which is the best. But it's often with a self awareness. And how we do that is most often simply putting on the table some better questions. Some better questions in terms of not just who someone is, but really what are they doing? how are they trying to accomplish what it is? And so we ask some really cool kind of prompting good questions. And when that's internalized, it leads to better answers and better decisions.
And I think the big thing that everyone needs to lean into is understanding what their why is, because it's all very well turning up and doing a job and doing it well, but understanding why you're doing it fundamentally will give you bigger outcomes internally and the way you feel. What are these sorts of questions that you're asking people? Are they aligning to this why piece?
Very much so. It's interesting that I mean, I'm going to make a statement here, and people can argue against it, but I really believe everyone is born with not just a single purpose, but multiple purposes. And it goes from way back in childhood, actually, when you were born. And again, without going deep into that, but I fundamentally believe that there is purpose hardwired in everybody. Now, there are times and seasons where it is not clear what that is. Um, I was reflecting on this just recently, where one of someone that knows me well asked, "Hey, what were you passionate for when you were growing up?" And it wasn't. The answer wasn't a vocational calling. What's the answer? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What were you passionate for? And they knew enough about my story. I grew up in a small Northwest Midwest. I'm sorry, small Midwest town. Um, that when there were fires in this community, there would be an air, kind of not air raid siren, but just a siren that blare. It'd be whistles that would go, and as soon as that would go, I would drop what I'm doing. I'm running to the fire station, trying to find out where the fire is, and I try to catch a ride to go see the fire. I was somehow oddly weird, passionate to see what's the excitement for, what's going on, right? And I'm thinking, where's that connected to what I'm doing today? There may be a dotted line, not a direct line, but there was something that was, there's an urgency, there's a tendency to say, what's going on that's just out of the normal? And actually, a deeper part of it is there's going to be a crisis here. And I just wonder where's deeper side of it is where's the empathy? And so I mean, without all the psychoanalytical stuff, I'm thinking way back when in my purpose and passion when I was a kid to today. What's the purpose? What's the passion that I've got hardwired in my life today? And let me intersect this word, seasons. This is where Kairos comes in. What's a season?
Okay.
There's a difference for me at 62 years old to where I was at 52, 42, 32, 22. Doesn't mean that the other stuff, this purpose, passion wasn't there, but there's parts of discovery along this journey.
100%. And do you feel like anything along that journey has stayed consistent?
Yes, that it is understanding that if I personally understand through combination of good questions and refinement to answers in the very best of who I am, it's not all the things I'm not good at, but the things that I am good at to really maximize and elevate and leverage that. And I just really focus on that. That's not only true for me, but it's true for other people. And Harry, I find so many people that are struggling with this, that there's either a combination of an identity crisis. They're not sure. I'm not sure what my purpose is. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be. So, two quick stories. I did admissions for a college about 20, 25 years ago. And they'd be young students sitting across the table. And I'd ask the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? About one third of the students knew exactly where they wanted to be. One third were, here's some ideas, and one third clueless. They just wanted to go get an education.
Yeah, yeah.
I have friends right now that are 2, 3, 4 years older, younger than me that are retiring. Those that have retired are struggling with purpose if they've not thought ahead about where this is. This is a huge, huge opportunity, huge need.
Do you know what? It's so relevant, and I can think of so many people in my life, particularly who've struggled with purpose. And like, one is my own mum. She sadly, my father passed away and left her alone, and she's on her own. And she actually said to me, "Harry, how do I find my purpose?" And I'm working with her to try and get this back. But it's very hard to encourage someone who's at a certain age, where she's over 70, where she's thinking, "What can I actually do with my life?" So purpose is a huge thing, and as you said, it's important to get a hold of it early. Is what I'm learning, and I've gone through a bit of self discovery myself, and my purpose is very much showing up in the work I do and the work 1760 does and helping other people. That is where I'm really getting a kick out of. But I can even relate it back to those every 10 years, the seasons. I think when you were explaining it, I was thinking, what was my purpose at 24? Very different to the man that you see today. My purpose was probably to be a social creature. It wasn't to be someone that was focusing on helping others. It was maybe helping others through being social, but I like to think that if you evolve in the right way, it's only gonna get better and better.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go so high tech, it's gonna blow you away. I'm using a marker and a whiteboard right
Hit
now.
me.
I know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna draw 2 circles
Please.
because I think this is helpful for our conversation. Um, the first circle I'm just gonna draw is a circle that I'm gonna just simply call passions. And I just talked about passions when I was growing up, and there's multiple, but I wanna bring this to today, and for the people that are watching this is worth pausing and thinking about. If you were to take a blank check without a vocational answer, in other words, what are you going to go do? What are those passions that you have in life? Some love to travel, some love to make things out of wood. I mean, fill in the blank. There's all kinds of things. There's passions of what you want to do, but you can also answer what are those things that you're passionate for that are small or big problems in the world or your community or your street or your district, whatever it is. So if the exercise would just simply write down, just put 5 hashtags here or five notes. What are you passionate for? Just put some ideas, some words on the paper.
I might do this in the background just while we're talking.
No, it's good. It's exactly right. This has to be interactive.
Yeah.
And let me pause a minute. This is true for your mom. This is true for you. It's for the person that is retiring, but it's also true for the high capacity CEO that's running a company today. And I'm going to show you why this is so important in just a few minutes. So when you write down these passions, go ahead and just, whatever these answers are, pause a minute and then do this. Circle the top 2 that you think are the highest level of passions in your life. So let's just say you circle this one and this one. Okay. So it's number 2 and 5 on this scale. So this is exercise step number 1. The next circle is really important as well. This circle is called purpose. And you're going to repeat the exercise. You're going to write down the top 5 things that you feel very purposeful in doing. This starts to
Can
get
you give me an
you up.
example?
Yeah. So, for some, let's just say in social enterprises, some people have a real passion for homelessness and helping people that are homeless. Because there's empathy. So they may want to have a purpose towards, I'm going to go help the homeless. This is a massive thing. Well, what does that mean? Purpose can be there. Or another one could be, I like to work with my hands. I'm a self starter. I want to go start a construction business, a remodel, whatever it is. So passion might be helping others build something. Here you might be a builder, whatever. I mean, there's vocational answers in this purpose, but there's other things. So for me, um, part of what Kairos is doing is helping to prompt people asking questions to get to their better. So for me, my purpose is doing exactly the kind of stuff we're doing right now, to help prompt people
Yeah,
to
yeah.
create the bandwidth, right? Let me go one step farther, doing the same thing. So you circle what you think are the top things. So I'm giving you some answers of the types of things, but it would be better just to say, this could be a vocational answer, but your purpose, what do you want to do? Circle the top two. Here's the important thing to do. Not only you personally understand that, but entrust 2 to 3 others that know you well, show them this, and ask them, how accurate would you say this is true in my life of what you know? The cool thing about this is even if you're doing this apart from work, it's really, really helpful. But even more so if you're in a leadership team, you're leading a company, whatever it is, this requires some guts, some transparency, and says, let me be very honest and transparent here. This is an exercise I've been doing. What do you see with me? And be ready for the answers.
I'm going to do this exercise tonight.
Because
Where I'm struggling with is purposefulness because it's hard not in this context, in this setting with you, Nate. We've been talking about businesses. We've had a good conversation beforehand, and it's hard not to relate it back to a business context. But purposeful wise, can we go deeper for like family, etc.? But then I'm trying to tie. So I think it's just like buzzwords hit my head, and I try and tie it to family, but it's more like, is it purposefulness spending more time with my family? Is it being more readily available for my family? Is it
yeah, um, let me quick show you a couple other circles. Because for some people, and I'll just separate this out a minute. If this circle here is, um, I'll just simply call life, and this circle is called work.
yeah,
If you're tracking, there is two other scenarios. This is now these become work and life, so they are overlapped. So you have work and life. Or for some, if you look very closely, you can hardly discern because they have work and life so integrated right
right,
there. This is where the problem is for many people. On one side, their work and life are so integrated, there's hardly any separation. This is where people become very frustrated. They become disconnected, discouraged because they're just on this treadmill. They're constantly doing this, constant, 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 and
yeah,
it becomes very struggling. The other side of it, though, is work and life. For some, we get it. I mean, there's a privilege if you can pull the two together. Some people wake up in the morning, they don't like what they're doing, but because of necessity, they're going to go lay bricks. They're going to go do whatever it is because they need to earn the income and the life.
yeah.
When it's close to a work life where there's an integration, your passions and purpose find a way, it changes so much. Are you
So
tracking?
yeah, I'm tracking, but I'm just saying, from your perspective, there's work and life, and it's about separate. Is it about separating the two and having them as two different buckets? Because I know so many examples of people where they don't have much outside of their work. And they wake up, they live, they breathe, they work. You go and meet up with them, you talk to them, have dinner, and it's always work, 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 work. And some of these people are necessarily, they're happy and they're content with that. But for me, I don't want to sit there and hear about that person's work for the whole duration of us being together because I've like just think of a time recently where I have a lot of childhood memories with someone and now it's just work, work, work. And for me, it wasn't the most pleasurable of experiences.
That it is work, work, work and pleasurable?
No,
Just to be clear.
as in he was talking about their work situation. And I was just thinking, do you know what? Is there more to your life than work right now?
I agree. I just had a conversation today with somebody that is truly struggling apart from their work. Where's their identity? Where's their purpose and their passion? And I think I can't answer that for the person, but I can prompt the question and say, hang on a minute. What if you did a purpose filled pause? and ask the question, what are the things that you're passionate for? Um, if all it is today, 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 I just got to work to today, and they're not passionate for, here's a good question, by the way. Great litmus test question. 1 year from now, and I'll just kind of use role play this, Harry. 1 year from now, if we were to get on this call again and you're to jump on and say, Nate, here's what I want to celebrate 1 year from now. What are those things you want to celebrate in your life, in your work, and in your personal life? What are some things you want to celebrate? Write them down and then reverse engineer that through questions and through action steps. Here's an example of a good question.
I'm writing these down. That I'm going to be having a go at these today. This last final piece of 1 year from now, where do I want to be? Is that internal or is that external and sharing that with other people as well?
I think it's both. I think, there for some, I think for some, they wake up in the morning and because there's an internal drive, it's just kind of how they're hardwired. They're a self-starter. Let's go. And their vision, their passions and purpose are coming from within. Others are hardwired that their passion purpose is outside of them, but they're part of it. They want to go join something. They want to go do something. You get very passionate and purpose filled for a football match, right? There's all kinds of things. But when there's a vocational connection, some people are in the same spot for 20, 30, 35 years because they're stepping into it. It's part of them. That's fine. And that's good. That's okay. But it's when it becomes all consuming and it's all wrapped up that they don't pause and take a step back and say, is this giving me joy? Is this giving me satisfaction? Does this feel like I'm doing a value add? And when this is clear, and again, there are seasons for some people, this where it is today may be different than where it was 15 years ago or where it's going to be 5 and 10 years from now. That's okay.
Yeah. I'm going to have to keep a document somewhere and update it. Or how about this? You and I have a yearly podcast together and a check-in.
So no, listen. But I want to quick lean into something you said earlier. There's 3 Ds that I would say people need to pay attention to when it comes to this: discouraged, disconnected, or distracted.
So I like all 3 of them. And there are times in my life where I've been each and every single one of them and I've sought help for each of them. How does how does Kairos Collaborative help people that are going through these 3 Ds?
Well, I mean, what we simply do is we help ask good questions for meaningful growth. I mean, we help take the time to pause and reflect and find new insights. So individually, we set time aside. We have something called the Power of 5%. I won't go into that today for 2 reasons. One, we don't have time, and 2, we're actually we have done a beta test over the last 2.5 years, and in May we're going to be pulling up the curtain in a bigger way to help have people understand it. But let me give you a clue. This is a 5-minute timer. It's a sand timer, and if we flip this over and like we've been doing a little bit today with just some questions, and if there was some strategically placed questions that you personally set aside time each day or week, depending on your personality, for personal reflection on these kinds of things, and you did this on a disciplined, regular basis, and then paused 30, 60, 90 days out and reflected back, you're going to find a lot of ouches and ahas in your life. Ouches on the things you should have been doing, but ahas saying, I'm finding something different. So we do that with individuals through leadership cohorts. Well, we also step into this with teams in small and big ways through staff meetings, retreats, to ask questions and create the space for not just reflection, but we translate this into tangible action with accountability.
And you know what I love about it? I can see the benefits from a one-to-one perspective 100% and from a leadership perspective. But from a team perspective, it must be so beneficial to get the teams aligned around one goal. And there's been times where my background is corporate sales, well, software sales. And there's been times where those three Ds you mentioned, disengaged, discouraged, distracted, the whole team will feel that individual D. And it's not, it's probably another reason within the business and we're not aligned with the business goal. And it's sometimes I think businesses over actually look that and say, what is the actual vibe? I don't know if vibe's the right word, but what is the energy within the team right now? Okay. And
Spot on.
then how do we get to the root cause of that and then see what's actually going on? Just from one of my last companies I worked with, we were an EMEA office in a big US organization, and we just felt like we were a small part of it. And no one actually took time to be like, right, how are they feeling? Why do they feel this way? Because our performance wasn't there. And I think there's a lot to be done and a lot to be said about this.
Right. Let me intersect at this point, Harry, this reality. I'm going to reflect on myself, but other leaders. The person in the mirror, the people you meet may be very high capacity leaders, but I also am observing and know that many leaders feel insulated and isolated. They feel like they're the only ones that are going through this. And we need some Switzerland in this, some neutrality that people feel like I can be honest without feeling like I'm kicking the legs out underneath myself, my company. Um, that's why Kairos Collaborative, we do it collaboratively. We create the safe spaces where people can be raw and real, and it's a safe spot where they can be honest. And then asking questions like, I'll just we do this here. One of the things we do, we ask good questions. So there's a leadership. I'll quick read this.
Yeah, please
Last, when have you felt most fully alive and aligned with your purpose in the past year?
say that. Repeat the question again. Apologies.
When have you felt most fully alive and aligned with your purpose in the past year? It's an example of the question asked. Slow down, ask that question, write it down, and say, "Wait, why is that true?" And if you're not feeling that way, why are you feeling disconnected, discouraged, or distracted from that? Which then begs another question. What is it going to take to get back to that spot or recreate that? You and your team, small, big, or anything in between, that's an incredibly vulnerable but important question to ask.
Love it. Literally, I'm going to be doing all these exercises all evening. Expect a lengthy email from me. Um, my partner has no idea what she's getting in for tonight. I'm just thinking about it. But Nate,
But it's
yeah, sorry.
beautiful. No,
Yeah,
it's good.
but look, it's why I've really enjoyed this podcast is it's been so thought provoking. And anything that I can, do you know what? It wasn't even just thought provoking from like a solo point of view. I was relating this back to every single business situation I've been in. Um, So yeah, I will be. Well, I've got one final question for you because look, I think you've done a fantastic presentation, and as I said, my brain is ticking, and I'm quite excited to get. It's not often I leave a podcast and think, right, let's go start implementing these and seeing how I can change. But what is what does the next 3 to 5 years look like for Kairos Collaborative? Just for those listeners who don't know, Nate runs the business with his daughter. They have a fantastic working relationship, and there've been so many things that we didn't dive into today, which is making me think I need to get him back for another session. Um, but yeah, what does the next 3 to 5 years look like for your organization? And aligned to that, how does your purpose change alongside it, and how does your passion change alongside it, or do they stay consistent?
Harry, I so appreciate the question. Behind this whiteboard is a wall with another whiteboard. And from day one on that board, I have these words: one, ten, hundreds, thousands, millions. Let me explain. I think there's so many people that are absolutely hungry and when they discover excited that the very best of their passions and purpose lived out not only changes them, it changes the world. it changes their world, it changes the world. Some have capacity to make significant difference. Others, I mean, publicly, visibly, but others have significant impact. Go back to somebody that had a passion for homeless. What if you changed one life because of how you treated them, right? My 1, 3, and 5 years out is to scale out and scale up.
Yeah.
The discovery, but also the use of this tool. What's in my hands? What's in my heart to hold it responsibly, not loosely or too tight? So there's business plan, there's business acumen, I get it. But man, this is just way too important and fundamental to just hold tight. So my heartbeat passion is that you take what we were just having fun in this kind of
Yeah.
conversation. What if there was 10 or 100 or thousands of people that had this kind of discovery, and we're just here to help steward and come with a servant's towel over our hands to help others discover that individually and teams? In bottom line is this: why would we not passionately pursue our very best, what's hardwired in our lives, and not get distracted, not get discouraged, not get disconnected, but watch what happens local, global, small, big, seen and unseen ways. I just think there's so much cool things there, and that's my passion and purpose to see that take place through Kairos Collaborative.
And look, I don't think you could have finished it on a better roadmap for Kairos Collaborative, and it's fantastic to hear. And I feel enlightened talking to you, and it's not very often I leave a podcast and I'm like, whoa, I've got some thinking to do. But Nate, I really, really do appreciate your time. I know you've got a lot more to say, and there's a lot more for us to go through, but that just shows how fantastic your offering is. And look, I wish you all the best, and I'll include the details for Kairos Collaborative below. But thank you so much, Nate.
Listen, I appreciate it. And the final quick comment is if you go to our website, we are greatly understating what we're putting out there right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but we are doing some beta testing, some really cool things. So actual tools, pathways, those are all forthcoming as well. But Harry, thank you. Great job on this. And I'm excited for how this can be used to help increase the very best of individuals and teams going forward.
Me too. Thank you, Nate. Cheers.